Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's OVTLYR Live, where we cover the biggest headlines of the day and what the AI trading data has to say about it. And our top three stories of the day: Disney is not only in financial trouble with losing nearly $1 billion on their movies this year, but they are about to be in some major legal trouble with Governor Ron DeSantis. Next, Apple just admitted they screwed up your phone, so you better download the software update to fix what they've already broken on your phone quick before things get even worse. And lastly, the United States of America, is in some serious financial trouble, and one expert says it's because of the Three Stooges that are in charge. Tune in for all that and more on today's OVTLYR Live. Disney is in a world of hurt right now. Not only have they lost close to $1 billion in releasing movies this year, but they are this close to being in some legal trouble with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. I mean, Disney cannot catch a break lately. Every time we turn around, it is more and more negative news for Disney. I mean, lately, Captain Marvel is set to be the worst Marvel movie of all time, and that tracks all the way back to like 2004, 2008, whenever the first Iron Man movies were coming out. On top of that, Wish, their latest animation, which in history, the animated movies perform. They print money all day, every day. We're talking $1 billion at a time, right? This is set to be a $200 to $300 million loss just on Wish alone. Just on the Wish movie alone, they could be looking at a third of $1 billion in losses. Disney is getting wrecked this year, and it's about to get even worse. But if you're just tuning in, my name is Christopher Yule, and we cover the biggest headlines of the day and what the AI trading data says about it. So if you're interested in that too, be sure to definitely hit the subscribe button down below and start trading with AI today. Head to OVTLYR.com to see why outliers win. So let's take a look at the story here. Disney's tax district accused of shady dealings amid Governor Ron DeSantis' standoff. And they're saying that it's almost like they've been handing out bribes. The report accuses Disney of creating an absolute monarchy in its independently governed district. The Central Florida Tourism Oversight Board, created by Governor Ron DeSantis, released initial findings on Monday that accused Disney of taking payoffs and not following through on its promises, right? The report, which examined Disney's controversial special improvement district, found that the company had agreed to build hospitals, affordable housing, and other public amenities in exchange for the special governing status. Though Disney did not follow up on any of those commitments as it continued to build more and more theme parks. What this is saying here is that Disney promised to make the area a habitable place, a fun place, a place where people could come and enjoy all these amenities for free or very low cost. But instead, they didn't do any of that. Instead, they did everything they could to expand their parks, and granted, they're a corporation, that's their job, right? But they didn't follow through on any of the reasons why they were granted this special status to begin with. The district did not build any homes, any schools, let me rephrase that. The district is not home to any schools, any hospitals, or any libraries, and insist that these costs are, let me rephrase that. So they don't have any schools, libraries, or hospitals, and instead they're putting those costs on the surrounding communities, which must supply those services for Disney employees and their families. So they were granted the special exemption to create hospitals, libraries, schools, things like that. But instead, they're making the surrounding communities have to be even thinner, I think my camera just died again. Daggone. All right, hang on. I gotta tell you, if you're watching this live, that's the third time this week that's happened. I don't know what the deal is, why my camera keeps crashing, but let's continue. The district is not home to any schools, libraries, or hospitals, and is making all the surrounding communities have to pay for these necessary items to help keep the area functioning. Right, so let's look here. The authority was so unchecked that Disney attained the power to, among other special privileges, create and direct not just its own fire and police departments, but also, if it chose, to construct a nuclear power plant. That's how much authority they had here. They had so much authority they could even make their own nuclear power plant. Disney had wholly outmaneuvered the legislature, there we go, and pulled off an incredible act. It had established an extra constitutional governing authority, an experimental absolute monarchy within the borders of the state of Florida, and according to the United States, one strikingly resembled, without exaggeration, a kingdom of yore. The report comes after DeSantis signed into law in February that dissolved the district's former board and installed a new 5-person board. And the report alleging that the previous board and district employees took gifts from Disney that were akin to bribes that ensured that the district put the needs of the company first. Man, Disney can't catch a break here, right? And in fact, they still have no idea how they're going to make money in 2023. So they've decided that they're going to release 3 of their movies that have already been released on Disney Plus. They've decided, you know what? We need to make money somewhere. Maybe these movies that we release on Disney Plus, we should send back to the theater. So in 2024, Disney's so out of ideas that they're actually releasing movies that you can get for free in the movie theater, right? Well, free in the fact that you have a Disney Plus subscription. So they're going to release Turning Red, Luca, and Soul. Listen, when I go to the movie theater with my family of 4, I expect to pay at least $80. At least $80. Now, if you're telling me that the latest releases I can actually already get today on Disney Plus, why in the wide world of sports would I even get out of my chair to drive myself to the movie theater to spend at least $80 to watch these movies that I can watch at home in the comfort of my own home, that I can pause when my children are up using the restroom, popping some popcorn, whatever? We are conditioned at this point to say, I don't need to go to the movie theater, so I can just stay at home. So Disney releasing these, get ready for even more losses, because they're going to have to advertise this, right? The cost to create the movie is booked already years ago, but they're still going to advertise it. So you can imagine all that advertising money wasted because people aren't going to go. So Disney continues to suffer. Disney continues to fail. But let's take a look at what the AI trading data has to say about Disney. So take a look here. We actually got a sell signal today. Today. We got a sell signal on Disney. And in fact, if you look right now, we had a buy signal back on November 8th and it performed pretty well. But that buy signal, it is done with now. We got a sell signal today. And if you'd been following these signal returns, you would have seen a 56.93% return. Listen, you'd be making way more money than Disney has been lately, losing nearly $750 million on their movies. You could be looking at a 56% return following these signals here. So if you want to get your hands on these AI trading signals, head to OVTLYR.com to see why outliers win. Now let's take a look at what the internet is saying about Disney, right? Let me scroll back up. Let it load. There we go. All right, more. We're here. I hear the Pentagon. Where'd it go? I hear the Pentagon is contracting with Disney to produce more weapons now because they have such a record of producing bombs of late. But doom, here we go all week. Yep. When your goal as a company is to overthrow or repeal law, you're a political action committee and not a business. Disney has made a grave error with that statement when it was made, right? We don't try to overthrow or repeal a law. They can say whatever they want. That's the First Amendment, right? Disney or Groomer World has much worse problems. Disney's streaming operation lost $500 million in the most recent quarter. And that's in addition to all the losses that they've had recently with their movies. So they're losing $500 million for streaming. They're losing nearly $750 million for their movies. Disney just can't catch a break these days. Ooh, Apple just admitted they have broken your phone. And you better real quick, right quick, download a software update to unbreak what they done broke for you. So let's jump right into it real quick. Apple releases urgent iOS update due to security exploits. Apple discovered security gaps in their WebKit, the company's web browsing engine. The tech giant has released another update for iOS just weeks after dropping the landmark iOS 17.1. I am not an Apple fanboy per se. I have Apple products, but when someone comes through and they're like, it's a landmark software update, it's a jaw-dropping, amazing new update, I'm like, listen, I could get my iPhone 13, which at this point is an old phone, and take it to an iPhone 4, and like the differences between the two are about this much. Right. And I'm sure the iPhone 15, 16, 18 and a half plus triple upside down cheesecake is going to be exactly the same as well. So Apple, in my opinion, is not this tech innovative giant and doesn't release landmark software updates. Give me a break here. iOS 17.1 was made public on November 30th and aims to patch 2 possible security exploits in 17.1.1. Wow. So like I say, they just released their amazing landmark software product. And it's already got problems. Maybe they could do a little bit of testing or a little bit of additional security testing before they release this to the public. And they're like, oh crap, we got to fix their stuff before we have it even worse. The company is urging customers to download the update as soon as possible. Apple is expected to release 17.2 later this month. But the security issues proved way too pressing. So they rushed out 17, they rushed out 17.1. Now we've got issues. Now they're going to rush out 17.2. Is this even going to work out in the future? Or maybe they're just going to have a buttload of bricked phones here in the next few weeks. I don't know. But I do know one thing. My name is Christopher Yule. We cover the biggest headlines of the day, what the AI trading data has to say about it. And if you're interested in that too, be sure definitely hit the subscribe button down below and start trading with AI today. Head to OVTLYR.com to see why outliers win, right? There are no new features included in this update. We just want to make sure that nobody hacks your phones because we basically let people in and we need to make sure to kick them back out. So let's take a look at what the AI trading data has to say about Apple. Oh, we just got a sell signal November 30th. Maybe the AI trading data was able to pick this up a little bit ahead of time to let people know maybe it's time to take your profits. And if you'd been following these signal returns, you could have seen an outstanding 352.23% return. So if you want to get your hands on these outstanding AI trading signals, head to OVTLYR.com to see why outliers win. Let's go take a look and see what the internet is saying about this, right? If Apple made cars, I gotta let that load again. Here we go. If Apple made cars, it could only drive on special roads. We need authorization for each passenger. The engine wouldn't be accessible. It wouldn't have windows. It would require special fuel. It would cost 69% more than other cars. And the main appeal would be conformity. Only celebrities would endorse it, right? Why is software being released before it's proven out? This happens all the time. Common sense, people. Can't these highly educated people do anything right? I think they think they know it all. It's also hired out to other countries with no checks and balances. I don't know about that, but let's take a look at another comment here. Can't wait till Elon drops the Tesla cell phone on the market. I can't either. I'd be the first one to buy that. The US is in some serious financial trouble, and that's because the Three Stooges are running the show. Or at least that's what Rich Dad Poor Dad would say. Robert Kiyosaki says, inflation and incompetence is here to stay. Now, before I dive deep into this, right, I have read several of the Rich Dad Poor Dad books. I think that he's onto something. But he's also a doom and gloomer. He's been calling for the collapse of the U.S. economy for decades at this point. He even had a book, I forget what it was called, The Rich Dad Prophecy, where he was like, at some point, the baby boomers are going to retire. They're going to take all their money out of the stock market when they retire, and everything's going to crash and burn. That hasn't happened yet. And I think that book came out in like 2009, 2013, somewhere in that around that frame, right? It's been decades since that book came out, and it hasn't happened yet. So, granted, I do think Robert Kiyosaki can be a little bit of a pessimist, just a tiny bit of a pessimist. But let's go on to see what he has to say here. I hate to say this because, you know, I love America, but America is in some serious trouble financially because of the debt load. Rich Dad Company co-founder, says during his appearance on Coast to Coast the other day. I think the biggest problem, Neil, is that we have the three stooges, you know, one in the presidency, one in the treasury, and one at the Fed. So he's talking about Joe Biden, Janet Yellen, and Jerome Powell there. America is broke right now. Well, not only is America, the country, broke right now, but inflation has not come down. And inflation is hitting everybody's pocketbooks. And I'm a big nerd, so I follow a lot of this economic activity. And I saw somebody put out a video the other day about how awful it will be if we have deflation. And I don't know. Personally, I think that it's okay if the price of my home, if the home value that I'm in right now comes down some. I'm okay with that. Because it would help a hell of a lot of people right now to have the cost of everything else go down as well. I'm not one of these people who says we need to have inflation always and forever. 2% inflation is what we're looking for. At least that's what the Fed says. Something sustainable and under control. But having had, 2% for so long, give or take, and then 9%, and then 3% on top of the 9%, I wouldn't mind if we came back down to the level where the 2% were. That I'm okay with. That I think is where we need to be heading. And that is why I say we do need some disinflation. We do need some deflation, right? In September, the U.S. national debt topped $33 million for the first time ever, crossing a critical milestone when the government spending is already under scrutiny. All you have to do is look at the history. Every time they printed money, the empire went down. In the latest Fox News poll, I'm asking Americans about the state of the economy. Just 29% of the respondents said the economy has started to turn around, while 67% say the worst has yet to come. Hey, if you're just tuning in, my name is Christopher Yule, and we cover the biggest headlines of the day and what the AI trading data has to say about it. So if you're interested in that, be sure to definitely hit the subscribe button down below and start trading with AI today. Head to OVTLYR.com to see why outliers win. And I understand why 67% of people say the worst is yet to come. I don't think we've actually hit the wall where things are turning around and getting worse yet, right? Just go to any auto dealer. Right? Walk onto the lot of any car dealer. You're still going to see $100,000 trucks. Just a few years ago, those were $50,000 trucks. My dad bought a 2019 GMC when it was brand new, and I think he paid $46,000. That thing is loaded out. That same truck today is pushing $70,000. Then the interest rates have tripled, nearly tripled in some cases. So the cost of the truck is nearly doubled. The cost to finance it is nearly tripled. And anybody who would have bought this truck can't afford it now. So the only way for the economy to get better is for prices to come back down, because interest rates aren't coming down anytime soon. So the only way to find a buyer is for the prices to come back down. But on the other side of that coin, if companies have built their reputations, have built their products, have built the UAW with selling $70,000 trucks, and then they need to lower the prices, you know what happens next is that they can't sell enough to pay for the labor. And then unemployment starts to go up. And then layoffs start to happen. And then we have some real economic problems. So this is a delicate fine line here. And of course, I think that Robert Kiyosaki is jumping at the far end of the curve saying, everything is screwed, everything is done for, we got nothing we can do. Sebastian, one of my friends Sebastian showed up today. Glad to see you, man. So where are we at these days in the American economy? I think the worst is still to come, but I don't think we're looking at 1929 depression levels. I don't even think we're looking at 2008 recession levels. I think we're looking at a correction, right? Yes, asset prices are going to need to come down to find buyers, but that doesn't mean the world is ending. People have been stretched for so long. And the real thing that I think is going to be the big catalyst, right? The match that starts the fire. I think it's when people run out of credit card limit, because credit card debt is hitting new all-time highs. Once the credit card limits are being hit and people cannot sustain their lifestyles, I think that is the point where things are going to start to turn around, because people are going to stop buying. They're going to say, you know what? I can't buy anything else. My credit card's maxed out. and I have a 30% interest rate on this credit card, we got to make some major changes. So the first thing we're going to do is cut back on spending. That's the point where I think the economy is actually going to start turning around. So let's take a look at what the AI trading data has to say on the American economy and the S&P 500, right? We just got a sell signal 2 days ago, December 4th on the S&P 500. So if you are already in the S&P 500, now may be the time to take your profits and hang out on the sidelines until things kind of settle down. And if you've been following these signal returns, you would have seen a 108.25% return, which is not too shabby at all. And if you want to get your hands on these AI trading data signals, be sure to head to OVTLYR.com to see how outliers win. Now let's take a look to see what the comments are going to say. I am sure that these are going to be very, very strongly worded. This person says, agree, the U.S. will go bankrupt and bad things will happen. The United States of America has been grossly mismanaged since the end of World War II, blah, 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 blah. Oh, some of these people sometimes, I think they just get everything that they could want in a day by just venting on the internet. Let's see what it says here. If the collapse, it's a collapse. It's not if, but when the collapse occurs, right? This economic collapse will be the worst of history, by far worse than the Depression. Millions died in the Depression, and the same will happen again. Perhaps billions will die worldwide. Look, I don't know if that's the case. I really don't think so. I don't think that we're going to be looking at any sort of billion-person issue that's going to take out a third of the population of the entire world. No, I don't think so. I think we're going to have a strong pullback, a strong correction, and then things are going to settle down. Unless we have some real geopolitical war type of concerns to worry about, which is beyond the scope of what I can handle here. But let me know, what is YouTube showing you right here? It's going to be showing you 2 videos, and it thinks that these are going to be the best videos that you have seen all day long. So be sure to click one of those to watch more, and I'll see you on the next episode. Talk soon.